All right. That didn't go live, so we're just back on live. I'm not at home at my usual room, so I'm just trying to adapt with what I have here. So please, just take me as I am today. All right. So we are going to go straight to today's topic. But before we do that, actually, we need to quickly go around and talk about what is trending. There are a few things that had happened. Nigeria is more than one issue a minute. So things are just happening there. So I'll just start with what I read few minutes ago, which was about Showere's younger brother that was gunned down, attempted kidnap issue. So they gunned him down actually. Our condolence to Mr. Showere. Um, and the other one is still all about security in Nigeria. I read about one of the people that are working with Aregbesola, the minister. I'm not sure what ministry is holding on to, but one of his ministers in Oshogbo, thieves went to his house. They're more than thieves. I don't think they're just thieves because they beat this man silly. They beat his wife silly, and they transferred everything he had in his account and withdrew them all from his wife's account. So it's like it's moving closer to the seat of government, which is, if they're not doing anything now because it's not, it's just the people. Now it's moving closer by the day towards them. So those are the two that I just wanted to touch on today. So Wale, what's it trending for you?
Oh, thank you. What is trending for me now is the release of the forensic audit report of the NDDC. Uh, NDDC is the Niger Data Development Commission. It was established in 2001. With the sole purpose of bringing about infrastructural development in the Niger Delta region of Nigeria. Of course, we all know that the Niger Delta is responsible for the wealth of this country in terms of petroleum. So that commission was set up in 2001 to really bring about infrastructural and social development. So the present government ordered forensic audit into the activities of that commission. So the audit was conducted for period from 2001 to 2019. So a period of 18 years. I'm actually surprised that a commission of that, that status has not been audited for the past 18 years. And the numbers are staggering. Since in 18 years, 6 trillion naira, have been approved for different, for that commission. Out of that, 3 trillion naira have been spent on over 13,777 projects. The forensic audits came up with findings that the commission runs 362 back accounts. So that made the auditing very, very complex. As you can imagine, they had to go through 362 back accounts, owned by that commission, to be able to track all the spending. So you begin to ask, why do they have why do they have 362 commission? Back accounts. According to the forensic audit report, they said that the 13,777 projects completed were compromised projects, that they were really compromised. You know, that was the findings of the auditors, and they had a lead forensic auditor that led that team, that led the auditing, plus 16 other reputable audit firms did that, did the audit. And they said that based on their findings, a lot of the approved money went into private pockets. So the government made that very clear, that they're going to throw the book at people that have been involved since that 2001 till 2019, people that have been involved in management of projects, or that have been responsible in any shape or form, that they're going to really look into that. So that's what is trending for me. The report was released on Thursday. And obviously, to me, I've followed that particular story in the last 48 hours because of the importance of, a project or that commission to the Niger Delta people that have been shortchanged since inception, since oil was discovered in Nigeria. People of that part of the world, they've been shortchanged, and it's something that we all have to really keep our eyes on to know how the government is going to handle this. So that is what is trending for me.
Thank you, Wale. Isn't that so sad? I mean, some of these people will be pointing fingers at the president. Everything is Buhari's fault. What are they doing themselves? What have they done? 300 and something bank accounts. For what? Remember last year when the government was giving companies job keeper allowance, and so many companies put their hands up. Now, some of them are asked to refund that money because they are declaring that they are making profits. So government realizes that they are not the ones that we need to give this job keeper allowance to. So Avinoman is one of the companies that is repaying back millions of dollars that they've already paid him last year because it's declaring profit. This is a place where there is law and order. Now that the auditors have picked up these people, have picked up some people that they are part of this, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? So it is quite sad that every time it's all Buhari's fault because it's the one wearing the crown. But individually, those under him, what are we all doing? That is the question. Egbon, please, you are welcome.
Well, it's nice. It's nice to join my 3 Australian inmates. I can only pray that you guys get out of the situation as soon as possible.
Amen.
Yeah. Well, should I fire on?
Fire on, please.
Well, Wale, thank you for bringing this up. I want to say without any reservations that I am not surprised in any form. Not a single word in that report has shocked me. Because the honest truth is the Niger Delta Commission, from inception, as far as I'm concerned, was a farce. It was a commission created to spread the largesse amongst a few people. On paper, maybe that isn't it. The intention, the real intention, the original intention of the creators certainly wasn't that. It was to bring succor to people who, according to Vicky, have been shortchanged since the discovery at Oloibiri. Since then. And well, you mentioned 362 accounts. Let me just put it that those are the ones they found. I'm sure those are the ones they found. Because it's embarrassing for a nation that a commission operates 362 accounts, so that what can happen? Half of that amount spent so far should have turned the Niger Delta into a paradise. But we have what we have. And let me also say this, that over 90% of those involved in this are sons of that area. They have guided it jealously to keep it amongst themselves. The government, in its in honest intention, let me put it that way, at least to a point, decided that sons and daughters of that area would naturally be concerned about the development of the area, so they should take charge of situations. But they have seen it as Father Christmas come to town, and the audit is out. Let me go back to Vicky. Let us see what happens thereafter. Because we have a way of screaming in this country, and after some time, things just ease off. But this certainly is the scandal of the century, or rather, the expected scandal of the century. Well, we've talked about that. Let me just put something on a light note, because it's news like this that shortens the lifespan of people, especially those who have the faith in the future of this country. And what I'm talking about is the fact that Super Eagles won their match yesterday by 2 goals to nothing over Liberia. Maybe it's something for us. Yes, something that's a World Cup qualifier. So maybe it's something to cheer up, to cheer us up. At least we made a headway there, despite the fact that disasters are happening all around. Unfortunately, the killings are still on in the plateau. The killings are still on, and unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, insurgents in quotes are still surrendering to the army. We hope it's not just a sabbatical. For now, let me leave it at that. But sincerely, it's not a great news from Niger Delta. It is not. It is not.
Thank you, Egmo. Mr. Uwachuku.
Okay. Yeah, good. Yeah, one stood out for me, you know, in the course of the week, and that was the sack by President Mohamed Buhari of 2 of his ministers, the Minister of Agriculture and the Minister of Power as well. Now, there are conflicting information as to, you know, that all those sacks happened. On one fora, we've got people saying that he wants to reinvigorate his government. And on the other fora, on the other side of the divide, you also have individuals who are saying, oh, they've been relieved of their duties only because of their lack of performance. Now, whichever way the pendulum swings, I mean, the news is there, they've been sacked, and that there are many, you know, that this is not the end of the exercise, according to Femi Additional. It's going to be an ongoing exercise. So that's something we're going to be seeing in the nearest future. Now, the other on on the brighter side, I also bumped into the news of something coming out of the meeting the Southern governors held a few months back. I'm not sure whether it was 2 months or so back, where they all met and made the conscious decision not to allow, to ban open grazing within their various territories. And a deadline was given for, for laws to be enacted. I think it was 1st of September. And those laws, a good number of the governors have actually, or the state assemblies have enacted those laws banning open grazing. Now, I think this is a really good thing. To a very large extent, hopefully it's going to minimize the destruction being perpetrated by the criminal headsmen. Of note was I was listening to an interview granted by the former Attorney General of Imo State, where he gave some numbers. The nations who have actually done a good job of producing cows, do ranching, which is what a lot of the governors are on about. If you want to rear cattle, do it in a modernized form. This guy was saying, look, this system, that is currently ongoing in Nigeria now is outdated. Whilst President Mohamed Buhari is looking for, trying to recover the old grazing routes. These guys have gone ahead to do the right thing. And the countries, he gave instances of countries who have done the same thing, and they are achieving really great results. Brazil, he mentioned Brazil is one of the greatest, they are the biggest producers of, cattle all over the world, with a production capacity of about 250 million cows every year. The US produces about 96 million cows every year. The EU produces about 85 million cows every year. Argentina produces over 50 million cows every year. And all of these countries, undertake this production by engaging in ranching. Nigeria produces only 20 million cows every year, according to him, and that we're actually undercutting the capacity that this industry actually has by operating in this old style. So yeah, it's a good thing these laws have been enacted. Hopefully, it can lead to some peace and tranquility in some areas where there's been a fallout of killings and all sort of things. Farmer headers are clashing. Hopefully, this will just nip all of that in the bud in the meantime and going forward. So yeah, those are the two I came across.
Wow. Thank you so much. Hello?
Yep.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Elvis, for that update. Now let's move on to today's topic. We'll be talking about the obsession from Nigeria.
Sorry, Vicky.
Yes.
Vicky. Just before we move on, just a quick one. In other societies, when there's a reshuffle or ministers are dropped, there are ripples, at least within the society. There are debates and all that. I want to tell you that the one that happened here has met with so much calm. There has been no ripples. I don't know what went right or what went wrong, but we have just moved on without any incident or without even any prolonged debate on the issue. That says something. The other quick one is that while I was reacting to Wale's submission earlier, I wanted to remember a phrase which comes into mind easily. When he talked about disbursement and how money is spent by the Niger Delta Commission, or how you think a lot of things are lopsided. That's a usual reaction. And it's just a phrase. What you get is, now waiting, not be our oil money. Now we have seen the result of our oil money out of the audit thing. I just try to remember that phrase. Not be our oil money. They tell you that. Now the result is here. All the best.
May I just chip in quickly? It just joggled my memory. I think perhaps one of the reasons why we may not have seen those reactions or those arguments after people have been, or ministers have been laid off, or those in positions of authority. I understand previously a lot of mileage had been gained in the agricultural industry. There had been a lot of advancement, and that was achieved by the previous minister. That's what I understand. And then this new guy has come in, and there hasn't been a lot happening in that area. So that could probably be responsible for his for him being given the boots, and why we haven't had the echo that usually ordinarily we follow.
All right. Thank you so much. Now, Wale, let's get into the topic.
Okay, thank you. So we're trying to just have a bit of fun tonight. I remember Vicky said last week that look, we're getting too serious with some of our topics. So we said, okay, let's mix it up with something a bit funny that is also very part of our our culture, or part of our life in Nigeria. And tonight we're talking about our obsessions with title. Is it really a cultural thing, or is a matter of ego? Many Nigerians are obsessed with titles. In fact, the obsession has reached an alarming rate in recent years, considering all sort of prefixes now attached to names. No matter how embarrassing it is, we are now accustomed to referring to people as Doctor, Engineer, Alhaji, Chief, Teleganlosoro, Doctor, Barrister, Chief, Mrs. Eruobodo JP, and TPL that stands for Town Planner, TPL, ARC, which stands for Architect, SOV, which stands for Surveyor Ahmed, etc. Yeah. Why are we so obsessed with honorifics? A man that contested and lost councillorship election paraded himself as Honourable Councillor. Why is he an honourable in the first place? And we have people that are contested House of Rep, whatever. They lost the election. Maybe they actually purchased the form, and they didn't even make it to primary. And you see them, they actually put that preface, honourable. So what is really going on? So we just say, look, let's just talk about that. And I remember when I was growing up, we have doctors. There's no argument about that. Doctors, either a psychiatrist or a general practitioner, obviously within the academic, doctor, professor. I remember in my time in university, I had a man in the department of soil science and agricultural mechanization where I attended. He was the first person that called himself Doctor Engineer. And I thought that was really strange at the time. He was the first person that he had a PhD, and also, he's an engineer, of course. He was the first person that I saw in his title, Doctor Engineer. Even I remember at that time, that looked very, very odd to me. But now, we've reached a stage now that we've got, town planner, surveyor, farm, which is the pharmacist. We've got, all sort of things, RN, which is a registered nurse. So we have all sort of things. So what is really going on? That's what we want to talk on tonight. And I will go straight to, to Elvis to really start the discussion. How can we explain our obsession with titles?
Ego, Wale. status symbol. I think we've got a situation where people at first, firsthand want you to identify whether you like it or not with their level of educational attainment, because all these titles you mentioned, by the way, you don't acquire those titles except you have been through one, the four walls of one university, polytechnic, or the other. I mean, for some of these individuals, it might be the case of, look, I've done this, it's no mean feat. I have gone, I have seen, I have conquered, and I need to flaunt it. The world needs to know that I've achieved it. So, well, it's nothing more than, ego. One you even have not mentioned tonight would be, like Chief Nze, Bale, also. Typically, when someone is offered, back in the days, as far as I know, when you're offered, before you get offered a chieftaincy title, you of course would have, done something significant for the community, and in recognition of your contributions to that society, the king or the ruler at that time, could take it upon themselves to reward you in that way, and it's a way of saying thank you for what you've done for our community. Now, in the level, the obsession for titles, the craze for it these days has also gone to the extent where people actually go in and pay traditional rulers. I know this is common in my part of the country. People pay traditional rulers just so you can assume the title of a chief. And then when my father was alive, he was offered one, and I know he always used to say, "Look, I don't need it. My mister is okay for me. The institution of chieftaincy," he says, or he used to say, "has been bastardized." So yeah, you have all manners of individuals in their case for wanting to be addressed, with their titles, are ready to pay any amount of money, even buying the king's cars just so they could get that title. So, and some even pays universities to get the doctorate, having not gone through the uni to become an academic doctor, they also go pay money so they can be addressed as doctors too. So yeah, bottom line is just status symbol. People want to be recognized for what they have achieved, and others for the money they have in their bank accounts. They want to show they have arrived, and that's the way they choose to be addressed. So yeah, nothing more than ego for me, and to show, yes, this is my status, and I should be addressed as such.
Thanks, Elvis. So I'll move to Egbo now. So my specific concern is around at what stage in our history did professions automatically become a preface or a title, that needs to, like, for example, now we have people like, maybe we need to start addressing Egbo as journalists, first. Journalist, Yemi Shodimo, or actor, all sort of, I'm sure he's a man with so many, many feathers on his cap. At what stage, in our history, do we just suddenly wake up that we need to start, really addressing people? And no disrespect to people who, as Elvis said, a lot of efforts to get degrees or to get doctorate, or I respect people that have really achieved whatever. But my concern is that at what stage in our national history do we now decide that every profession, automatically that becomes a title that has to be a preface to people's name? So Egbo, is it simply a show-off of a thing, or is just a matter of, society that, I pass my neighbor, I dig past my neighbor? Is it that continuation of that psyche of trying to intimidate others? What is this all about to you, Egbonyemi?
It is a combination of all this. It's a combination of all this. And I'll tell you, sincerely, the first question that comes to my mind is, because I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but yeah, really. I think the moment we started filling forms, and there's a column there that says title, I think that did it. That is one. Two, in actual fact, at the time of the exit of the colonialists, the people that took over needed or felt they should differentiate themselves from the others, from we the commoners. They needed to be up there and to be seen and acknowledged as being up there. And this has gone on over and over and over. Of course, just as you rightly said, the medical doctors from inception were acknowledged as that, say doctor or something, and people were comfortable with it. And then started the race where different professional bodies, and let me say this. The educated clique caught the bug from the generality of the people. And they started their race as professional bodies. They were not content with being addressed as their names were. Mr. So-so-so, Mrs. So-so-so, or Miss So-so-so. They were not. They felt, okay, a particular professional body was being acknowledged more relevance, was being given more relevance within the societal setup. And so muzzle flexing started. Hence, all the various titles that you have. It's an endless list. Well, you've mentioned quite a number of them. But when you hear some, you can't but laugh. You can't but...
Please add, maybe you live there, maybe I've missed out some of those titles. Please add, please.
I mean, a situation where you have, okay, we know the ARC that goes with architect and all that. When the town planners came up with their own, I couldn't but help. I couldn't but laugh. There are, I had somebody who introduced himself as teacher, blah, blah, blah. Teacher, so. I had somebody who introduced himself as that. And then maybe you very soon, of course, and maybe it's existing already, you have marketer, ABC. Various names, various titles like that. Now, this has gone beyond our shores. I must say that. This has gone beyond our shores. And Nigerians out there are embracing this. I've seen situations where somebody spends thousands of pounds to acquire a chieftaincy title from a village that, let me use Obasanjo's words. If you magnify the map of Nigeria 100 times, the particular village I'm referring to will not come up. And this guy spent thousands of naira to become a chief in that village. so that it could be addressed at Chief so in United Kingdom. That has been going on for so long. Now, in the arts, we've had Dr. This, even Professor That as musicians. And these are probably people who probably just managed to scale through primary school. Or maybe they saw a couple of walls in the secondary school. Or you see the person claiming to be a professor of, Professor so, Doctor this, da. It's, Elvis said it has to do with ego. It has to do with a struggle for relevance. At times, it is a show of insecurity. At times, it is, call it bravado on the part of those who struggle for this. And it's both on the cultural side, in terms of the traditional side, and the professional side. I chose my word about the traditional side because it doesn't necessarily mean it is not part, it doesn't mean it is part of our culture. No. But they are using that platform to gain relevance. It's a platform that they are using to try and measure up for the things they lack. But on the other hand, there are people with such titles in the traditional sector that probably deserve to be acknowledged due to their contributions to communal development, to the development of humanity. Those are in the category of their own. There are some of them like that have been given such titles and they don't even use it. But they are acknowledged back home as having done A, B, C, D things and have been honored. But we have a lot more who buy such titles. And please give kudos to the ingenuity of a lot of our traditional rulers. They can coin titles. They can coin titles from the air, from water. They will coin something and honor that person with it, and the person will be gallivanting all over the globe with it. Never mind the fact that that might just be his last visit to that village or town, at least in a while. So, in summary, it's actually more of ego. It's more of a self-assertion. It's also an attempt to write roughshod over others, and it is also a kind of license to get certain things within the society that some people do not deserve. That's it.
Thank you, Egbo. And on latter side, you mentioned musicians. I remember I follow Fuji genre of music very well.
Don't mention names. Don't mention names.
I remember the rivalry between late Dr. Sikiru and the barrister. May God bless his soul. He was Doctor of Music. You know, he was Doctor of Music, and not long after that, his closest rival at the time, in terms of that Fuji music, he announced himself as a professor called Linton Ayla. So that was how it was. I'm talking that should be in the late 80s or early 90s. So that was
Wale, I'm sorry, you have now forced me to come to the defense of one person. And I mean one person.
Okay,
and that's the late Sikiru Ayinde Barrister.
Okay.
Sikiru Ayinde Barrister actually got a honorary doctorate degree from one of the American universities when he did that amazing album about Disney, about the trip to Disney. He actually got it, and but I cannot speak for his rival that came up. I don't know where the professorial title came from, but Sikiru Ayinde got a honorary degree. And that album, I tell you, has remained evergreen. And anytime it comes up, it shoots to the top of the charts. I think it was a work of a genius. So I would defend him based on that. That is not to say the title was supposed to be flaunted all over the place, but this is Nigeria.
Thanks for that information. At least if he was given an honorary doctorate degree for his contribution to arts and music, well, he earned it. So I didn't know. I didn't know that, or maybe I forgot that's part of the story. I remember the album about Disneyland where he spoke. You know, it's just a very creative way of that music. So I will go to Dr. Vicky now. I want to talk more about culture, the cultural side of it. You are well traveled, and you've lived in few countries before here. And in your travels, have you, that is the cultural side that you want to look at. Have you met people, or have you met people or country that are so obsessed with titles like Nigerians? And I'm not talking about even Nigerians in Nigeria, but even we've been able to actually export, that way of doing things. We've successfully exported it into whatever base we are that we live. Like we all are professionals here, and it's not uncommon even within our community where we do things. We still put some titles there that you think they don't do it. No one in Australia where we live, where we know that we live, nobody do that kind of a thing. But we still do our own thing. We still call barrister whatever in Australia, yeah, or maybe in diaspora. We still put some pharmacists whatever that we know that. So why do we do that? Is it has to do with psyche? Is it a psychological side to that? And as far as I know, it is only us that you will see Dr. Mrs. If you are a doctor, male or female, got a PhD, you are a medical doctor, you are a doctor, as far as I'm concerned, and you've worked for it, you deserve to be addressed as a doctor. Why do we still need to put Dr. Mrs. as if being a Mrs. Is that also a symbol of being a married woman, or that makes you different to? So that is the side I want to explore with you.
Wale, we Nigerians, we are strange. No, don't let me call us strange. We are made differently. Okay, I'll just share a few things here on this point right now. I'm in the field. Apart from my psychotherapy work, I also do coaching. I do business coaching. I do life coaching. So I meet up with lots and lots of different coaches all around the world. So many entrepreneurs that I'm part of their groups and all that. You may think it's only in Nigeria that we are obsessed with titles. Now it's part of building your credibility in entrepreneurial world to get honorary doctorate in humanities. So it's part of the deal now. So I mean, some members of my club, the Global Achievers Club, they actually had a graduation, as they are honorary. So they were wearing the gowns and it was a big deal. Months of announcements about this, months of getting people to see that they've been awarded this. They are excited about it. They were so joyous about it. Yes, they had to prove that they were nominated actually, and they have to prove that they have been helping out within the community. They've been doing great things, and they've got to show some evidence to support that. They've got to show, they've got to present references and all that. So in this part of the world, it's also something that people push for. They want to be addressed as this, as that. But in our country, obviously, it's borderlining craziness. You know, ego is one, and I think it's also their way of saying, I've arrived, self-actualization. So I've been to uni and I've been doing this, I've been doing that. Now people need to know that I'm different from my neighbor. People need to know that I've done this, I've gone through this training. So they need to put it out there. So whether you now understand what the ARC means, that's your problem. But they have prefix to their name that makes them feel, oh, I've arrived. So who are we to now question that? Who are we to say, that's crazy? It's a matter of choice. They are choosing to, be looked at like that because it makes them feel fulfilled. It's making them to feel that sense of fulfillment, which is all that we all are looking for in whatever we do. So I think that's where I'll rest my case on that.
Wale,
Okay.
Sorry. I've got to thank Vicky for being so kind. I hope you got that. Vicky has really been very, very kind, which is okay. It is okay. Let me say this. This is not likely to go away very soon.
No.
It's not. And we have infected our children with it. There's a new craze in town which might not let this go away quickly. Now, these days, you find such a big celebration about a child leaving kindergarten. Thank you for bringing that word. It's such a big celebration, and we're talking about academic gowns on this little kid that's leaving the kindergarten. You're talking about families coming around to a celebration by the school, and there is entertainment, and the school is probably also smiling to the bank as a result of that. Most especially private schools. So in the psyche of even these little ones, it's like, I've achieved something. I don't know, and this is at this in the area of Vicky, throwing it back at her now. I don't know what this can do to the psyche of a child in terms of feeling challenged to achieve greater heights. I don't know whether it is positive or negative. But what bothers me is the energy, the amount of energy that goes into this celebration. And a lot of private schools are doing it now, and they are charging parents fees for it. And these women, especially the traders and the lowly educated ones, will break their necks to have these celebrations. I don't know how this is, but I thank Vicky for being kind earlier, because a lot of people who get these honorary titles do not display them as honorary titles. They don't. They want to present it as academic achievements. That's their body language.
It's against the law to do that.
I didn't hear that.
It's against the law to do that. If anyone is doing that, they need to be reported. Maybe not.
They don't care. Sorry, Vicky. Sorry. Of course, you said we are. Did you say we are unique or something? We are different.
We're made differently.
Vicky, we are strange. Let's use that word. Let's use the right word. We are very strange. They hardly portray it as honorary. They want to gallivant around to say, doctor, Doctor this, doctor that. Finally, Wale, don't let it surprise you. And I've seen this at very close range. The day a man mentions to his wife in their closets or in their bedroom or whatever that he intends to run for the governorship of a state, that day till the time he loses the election, he stays as Your Excellency. That is how strange we are. That is how strange we are. He's addressed as that. The wife starts it. The followers catch on that. And
I think we've lost Egbon there. So we wait for Egbon. Egbon, are you back? I think you're having some technical, challenges there. While you're trying to sort it out, I'll go to Elvis. Vicky said earlier about, Abraham Maslow's, hierarchy of need. She briefly mentioned self-actualization, that, we all, in life, we all aspire to be in a certain area. And by all means, if all these titles make people feel good about themselves so what is the fuss all about? Who are we to really quote, Vicky, who are we to question that if makes people to feel really good about themselves? So Elvis, what do you think? Who are really we to really question people if, calling themselves, all those titles or all these privileges make them feel good about themselves? Is it on a bigger scale? Has it really got any direct effect on the society in any shape or form?
No, it doesn't. I don't think it has any effect on society, whether negative or positive. As we stated earlier, it's just for people's the sort of braggadocio, put it that way. So if it makes them feel good, yeah, perhaps it's not in our place to question why they choose to be addressed how they want to be addressed. In reality, they put in the hard work to gain the certification. And look, if they choose to carry it like a placard and show it to the entire world, it's entirely up to them. Now, it depends on who is involved. Some instances, I met a doctor here, an academic doctor here, who would choose. In fact, from our part of he's from Nigeria, but he prefers to be addressed by his name. He doesn't want that title attached to it. That when you address him, he prefers that you address him by his first name. So it's relative. Just depends on who's involved and what their outlook or their mindsets are. But whatever they choose, it's entirely up to them, and I don't think it's in our place to question why, as long as they're not committing any offense and they're not annoying anyone by indulging in the way they are, then look, by all means, they're free to to move around with their titles as they wish. But I just also wanted to touch quickly on Vicky's comments in relation to cultures. Look, we like Ekman said, we take it to the extreme. We take it to the extreme. Yes, people in this part of the world, some also want to be addressed by their titles, but a lot of people, a lot of the times, honestly, people really don't care. People don't. I'm not talking about Nigerians here. Nigerians here, not like you alluded to Wally. Yeah, you still have people going by the titles, barrister or whatever it is they have acquired them educationally. But the case here is not as complex as or as extreme as what we have back home, like your surveyor this, your carpenter this, or your mechanic this. No, we're not that. We haven't got to that level yet. You know, it's either you're a doctor this or you're a barrister this. Those normal titles that we all have grown familiar with. You know, I would never have known. Well, if you didn't mention it now, I would never have known that a town planner would even add his title. This is the first time, you know, I will. It's coming to my knowledge. I never knew it's gone that ballistic. You know, so our people take it to the very extreme. I remember when I was when I was undertaking, I was doing my master's degree in the UK. One of the lecturers that taught me is a world-renowned professor. But guess what? You know, we're addressing first name basis. It's common. It's not a big issue. Now, you dare not. Who are you to address your lecturer by his name or her name in Nigeria? If God help you, if you pass that course, then it will be a miracle. So that's the extent, you know, how much importance people attach to their titles. You know, I think the mindset is, look, I've put in the hard work, I've done the hard yard, I've achieved it, and the only way you can honor me or respect me is by addressing me as such. So, bottom line, Wale, yep, if that's what they choose, then it's not in our place to castigate anyone for choosing to go by their well-earned and deserved titles, whether it's made up or not. Yeah, it's not in our place.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have a slightly different view.
Okay, I give you. Okay, quickly respond, Ebon.
Yes, I have a slightly different view. I don't believe it's not in our place to ask. I mean, an aberration is an aberration, and even the least we can do is to enjoy the humor around it. We are not castigating anybody, but we are reviewing a reality that is facing us, that is right there, that we live with, and we also owe our children. We owe our children the duty of telling them that an abnormality is not a normality, which is the essence of this kind of exercise. Internet never forgets. Some of the children are going to pick this up in years to come and say, wait a minute, our daddy was at the point in our history. They can say that. So I do not agree that it's not in our place. You are hearing town planner for the first time. Have you heard of builder so? Don't let's go into it. Some of these things will shock you. But the truth is, we are not castigating seriously. But let's enjoy the fun. Life is not all about hard. At times, let's let loose our airs. Let's do us like Vicky, and then enjoy some of the aberration that is going on around us. Seriously, it's not a normal thing, frankly. But what can we do? That's what we have. But let's just look at the humorous side of it, which is the essence of this exercise.
Yeah, well, but the point is, the point I'm making is, I'm not saying, you know, it's the way to go. My point is, if people are comfortable, and that's what they choose, you know, that we as individuals cannot pull them up and say, no, why should you? You see, like if I choose, I want to be a doctor, or you want to be addressed as a doctor, I don't think it's in my place to ask you, why do you want to be addressed as a doctor? If you feel comfortable and that's how you want to be addressed, I can look at you in my mind, I could think, oh, this guy is crazy, you know. But if that's what the individual chooses, I don't want to bust your bubble by saying, no, why are you doing that, or why is it It's how they feel comfortable, and I think the society, Nigeria, has come to accept it because you've just said, Bill, that is, I'm sure that a lot of people will even refer to that individual, or they come to questions and they grab the mic and they announce the arrival of Builder Kunle or whatever. So people,
Let
I'm
me
just
let me
comfortable. If that's how they want to be addressed, who am I to ask them not to be addressed in the way they choose? That's my.
But
let me let me tell
every
you, if you don't mind, let me tell you. Of course, you are aware of this. Probably one of the oldest of such, and that is Alhaji. Alhaji simply is somebody that has gone on pilgrimage.
Rebecca, yeah.
So how does it become a title? I'm yet to see somebody in Saudi Arabia with that title. I may be wrong, but I'm yet to find one. I also have a friend. Of course, people also go about with the title JP, Jerusalem Pilgrim. But I make humor out of some of my friends who put JP after theirs. Because knowing them fully well, I say, look, you shouldn't be using JP. Probably you should use JT. And what is JT? Jerusalem tourists. I call them, look, you're a Jerusalem tourist. I just love looking at the humorous side of it. But at the same time, it makes us a bit ridiculous out there. I must say that.
at the end of the day, I believe that it is very, very important in whatever we do to stay with the truth, to do it honestly. Because if we don't, it can come back to bite. And I'll share a particular story with you. A young lady in United States, she purchased, according to the ex-husband, they both purchased a doctorate degree. Now, they were together for 15 years and then they divorced. By then, everybody had been calling the doctor. It was the ex-husband that knew the secret that came out and said, we can't stupid Dr. Adekola. We purchased it from this place. She's not. It came back to bite her terribly. So whatever you do, if it's honorary, they offer me, somebody nominated me, I didn't buy this, so they just, it's like, when you get awarded for your your work, how good you've been, and they offer you award. So they can do that, whether you are, giving people, you're helping people in the community, you are, adding value to people within the community, they can offer you. But be open about it. If you haven't gone to Alhaji and you're being called Alhaji, tell people, please, I don't be no. Because there will be a day somebody will start, you know how it can be, that somebody will turn against you and start using those things that they know about you to fight or to make comments, to ridicule you. Because all these things, let me say this, all these accolades, all these titles, all these things that people are using, it's for credibility. It's for their credibility. And if you are not a credible person, if you are claiming to and you're not, it's going to come back and hurt you, and it can hurt you badly. So that's just my own contribution on that.
Sorry, Wale.
Okay, I think we need to, looking at the time, we need to move on. So if you've got something to say when we come back to the next question,
no problem,
you can
no problem.
easily respond. I think the most important point of this is that the essence of this is just to a kind of a lighter topic. I don't think in any shape or form designed to really have a go at anyone for whatever ridiculous title they want to really put, as prefixes to their names. I'll be the last person that'll be concerned, to be honest, with whatever you chose to really, call yourself. But it's also an aberration. And I think in a way, a program like this, we need to point out whatever is not really normal, especially with our exposure to other things and other side of the world. We still point it out and talk about it and laugh about it. I know if you call Elton John without saying Elton John, he won't answer you. You know, because it's a, you know, it's night and it's a sir. By even in English, you can't call him Elton John. He won't. He will feel very, very, you know, you've really, you know, embarrassed him. You need to put sir. That is the way he loves to be addressed. You know, so, and I get all that, but obviously there's a lot of ridiculous, you know, things that we do in Nigeria, and I think that's just the essence of this. Just to talk about it. Time is not really on our side. We're trying to keep this done as quick as possible. I think I was doing a good with time. I will go to Elvis just for his final words. And Egmore, I want you to think about something before I come to you for the final words. I want you to, there's now something happening in Yoruba land, especially where people will go outside their kingdom to give someone a title, and they call it Yoruba land. I don't see Alake doing that. Alake, if Alake decides to give someone a title, it will be whatever of Egba land. But I know there are a few Obas in Yoruba land, they think they have this entitlement to give a few people, even in some cases not the most credible people, they give them title, and they're not giving the title on behalf of their own kingdom. They give it on behalf of the Yoruba. I want to hear your thoughts on that when I come back to you as part of the final word. Elvis, your final word, please. On mute, please.
Okay. Yeah. Well, there's not much to say here. Yeah. Just my final word to be: look, if you're going about brandishing those titles, you know, at the end of the day, you've got to think whether that's what you really should be doing. How does it add value, especially you know, with these strange ones that you've mentioned tonight? I mean, if anything, honestly, I think it's just it comes across to me as an embarrassment. So before you add that prefix to your name, before you add that title, look around you. Are you doing the right thing? Is it a normal scenario? Again, I don't have a control over anyone's life or what they choose to do, but you might also end up where you're embarrassing yourself. So think wisely before you adopt those titles. So that's all I can say.
Thanks, Elvis. Over to you, Egboyemi.
I'm sure Wale will be aware of this, and maybe Vicky and Elvis as well. Years ago, the Guardian newspaper tried to correct this. Guardian newspaper then decided that nobody was going to get any title when mentioned in that paper. And that has gone on for years. I don't know whether they still stick to it, but it was a conscious effort at reducing this culture of gallivanting around the titles. And initially there was a bit of resistance, but Guardian stood its ground as a newspaper, and they did well for it. And people started getting used to it. People started being, let me use the word, humble. They could afford to read their names in that newspaper, and that was probably one of Nigeria's #1 or #2 newspaper then. They could have, over the period, people got used to that, which is probably the essence of this exercise as well, apart from the humor part of it. That's on one side. Directly to your question, yes, that we have noticed. That has happened a couple of times. But it is still part of ego tripping, even by some traditional rulers. It's part of ego tripping. It's It's a deliberate attempt to live in the past, where your sphere of influence went beyond what you have presently in terms of geographical scope. But some still feel, okay, why not do it? But the reality on ground is that even those who are given such titles, right, are really acknowledged as such outside that kingdom, outside the source of such titles. I've interacted with quite a number of traditional rulers and people generally. And when you come gallivanting, when you come brandishing such titles in some places, they don't acknowledge it. They don't fight you, but they ignore such titles. I do not want to go into names here, but within their closets, even those who offer such titles know within themselves that they have gone beyond the mandate. So that is what it is. Some traditional rulers will not do it. Some have done it. Some will still do it. But most times, it's between them and those they give the titles to. That is that. On a final note, when Elvis plays this video back, you'll find out that the ceiling in the room you are sitting has made you look like a saint. Check it out. Have a lovely weekend.
On that humorous note, thanks, Egbon. And I will hand over to Vicky to wrap up the show for tonight. Thank you.
Of course, I'm a saint.
I need to look at that. So true. I didn't look at that. Thank you for the observation, Egbon. Make sure with all this.
How come in the last couple of weeks I've always had this saint-like thing behind me? How come you're just picking it tonight?
It's called divine inspiration.
Okay.
Check it out. Check it. This you are now from today on. Tell me so what you.
You want to see the trick? Okay, that's the trick.
Oh, that's it. Thank you, Wale. It's good to mix humor with. We always talk about serious stuff, and some days when we finish, I'm like, oh my goodness, everything seems to be hopeless, and that's not what we want to be pushing out. So that's the essence of us going through a topic like this. We've laughed, we've smiled, which is good, and I believe our audience also will like something like this. Mixture of fun, humor. Yes, when we have to talk about serious stuff, we talk about serious stuff because that's the way it should be. It cannot be all laugh and laugh and laugh, that we are ignoring the serious bits. And it cannot be all serious and not bring humor into it, because it makes life so depressing and so boring. So I want to appreciate all my people for coming on and for sharing and for laughing and for smiling and talking about this topic. So all our audience also, we appreciate you. We always do. We thank you for joining us today. Omobolanle Omoga, Yemisi Jayola, Tolufe, Alistair, Woodward, and many others. We appreciate you for joining us today. And hopefully next week we will come back and share with you another great topic. We hope, we're not sure, are they going to be releasing us? Because what I heard at a point was So was it
Image should answer now.
I think it's till the 23rd of September. Is that not it?
All right, 23rd of September. Okay, are they giving any of us, for us who are taking anything, any reward? Am I have it?
Vicky, you're breaking up. I can't hear half of the things you're saying.
Oh.
What are the compensation? Is that it?
Yeah, I did give us.
Vicky.
Huh?
Yes, from me, I say Ekbele. That is one. But let me quickly say that Awo, a play on Chief Obafemi Awolowo, will be running at the Global Hall this Sunday and next Sunday, 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. It's titled Awo. Awo, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, Awo. This Sunday and next Sunday.
So it's a live show.
Yes, live production. And Nigeria will be meeting Cape Verde on Tuesday with an all-home-based team because our foreign-based players cannot go to Cape Verde because of COVID. So we'll be approaching that match with our guinea pigs.
But by the way, Vicky, before we go, I think it will be worth it to wish all fathers in advance, all fathers, happy Father's Day. Tomorrow is Father's Day.
Father's Day.
Yeah.
All you panelists, you are all great fathers, and to all fathers that are viewers, happy Father's Day to all.
Thank you.
Continue
Thank you.
Maybe it's time to go.
So happy Father's Day. Oh. Love you. God bless you all. Thank you, my father. May God bless you. Bye, everyone. Bye.
Nigeria we want. Great Nigeria. Of Africa. Nigeria we want. Great Nigeria. The Nigeria we want. With Vicky O Show. Yeah, me show the moon. Wale your light on. I've been see what shuku. The Nigeria we want. Great Nigeria on Vicky O Show every Saturday. The Nigeria we want. Great Nigeria of Africa.